Yesterday, I went to a local comic shop, and in fact, it's a shop that I've showed their dollar box section before in previous videos, and I'll leave a link to those previous videos in my description below. But they had their dollar boxes now were 25 cents each, or you could buy a long box for 25 bucks. And so I spent about 2 hours, maybe more, going through the boxes. I didn't even have time to go through them all. I was exhausted. It's like I still feel sore today, the next morning. But I ended up getting like 323 books. Those ones on the top of the box are ones that I had squeezed into the box, when I was at the store. But I pulled them out now. I didn't want to squeeze them back in. Last night I went through and kind of sorted through them. And what I thought I'd do in this video is I'm going to go through the comics, show what I bought, and I'm going to put them in 4 stacks on this table back here as we look at them. And the stacks will be, one will be the comics that are for my permanent collection. And those will probably be one of the smaller stacks. Then there'll be the stack for the temporary collection, like those Night Force comics up there on top. I might keep them for a little while, but then I might end up selling them or trading them away. And then the third stack will be for upgrades, and those will be for comics that I already have, but I'm going to see if these copies are better than the ones I have already, and then get rid of the duplicates. And then the fourth stack, which will probably be the biggest stack, in fact I might end up having to make it be 2 stacks so it doesn't fall over, are the comics that I'm not going to keep, the ones that I'm just going to trade away or sell. So anyway, that's what this video will be about. It'll probably be a very long video, and so let's get to it. Now, like I said, the store actually had so many dollar boxes that I wasn't able to get through all of them. Some of them were stacked on top of each other, and I just didn't have the energy anymore to start going through them. So it's unfortunate that there were some comics I know that they've had in their dollar boxes from previous visits to that store, like a bunch of Archie comics. I didn't get that many Archie comics, maybe about 5 or 6, something like that. I know they used to have more in those boxes, but I didn't see them. So that's not a huge loss. But I got pretty much everything that I kind of wanted. And I put a lot of stuff back, too. Anyway, so let's get through this all these comics so you can see what I bought. Okay, so let's start with those Night Force comics. This is Night Force number 7. It was a horror comic, early 1980s horror comic by Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan, who had done Tomb of Dracula over at Marvel before that. And this is number 7. This is number 8. Nice cover on that one. Number 10. Number 12. Number 13. And number 14. So I already have a reprint. They put out like 100-page super spectacular a couple of years ago that reprinted number 1 through 4. I actually used to have more Night Force too, but I ended up selling them at some point. So that's why, since I've had this before, wasn't that crazy about it, but on the other hand, it kind of has a nostalgic appeal simply because it's from that era. I'm going to put it in the second pile, which will be right there, for comics that are part of my temporary collection. So we'll see, if I'm going to keep them or not. So now we have Son of Ambush Bug, looks like number 2 and 3 from 1986. These were this was the second Ambush Bug miniseries. I'm a big fan of the first one, which I bought when it came out. And I bought this issue number 2 when it came out. And I don't think I've ever had this one before, this number 3. But I remember not liking Son of Ambush Bug that much. We'll put it in the temporary collection for now. Okay, now we have Vigilantes, more 1980s DC. This one here, issue number 17, written by Alan Moore. Alan Moore wrote a two-parter, if I remember right. I think it was 17 and 18, maybe. I already have this one, so this will go in the third pile, which is for upgrades, because I'll see if mine is better. If I, whichever one is better, I'll keep, and then the less good one will go over into the fourth pile, which would be for stuff I'm going to sell. And these issues here, number 8 and 11, I don't have. The funny thing is, when I was consulting my list in the shop, which I have on my cell phone, it was so hard to read the numbers. I was like, is that an 8 or a 9? Because I already had 9. It's like, it looks like an 8. These are from 1984. Not a big fan of Vigilante. I bought the first 2 issues back when they came out in 1983 and really liked them, but I didn't follow it after that. But he's got a cool costume. It's a early Baxter series. The page layouts are kind of cool. As it goes on, though, I'm less interested in it. So later issues of Vigilante, I'm not interested in. So I'm going to put these in the permanent collection. All right, now we have the Star Trek special. Looks like from 1991 or so. It's hard to see. In fact, I'm going to bring this light over more. Oh, that might create too much glare, though. Oh, it looks like 94. I'll have to bring a magnifying glass over here. It's early in the morning. But let's open this up. I did look at this a little earlier. It has a nice, cool cover. They had a bunch of Star Trek comics there. See how cool the artwork looks. It looks almost like a Bill Sienkiewicz art, although it's not. But isn't that very much like a Bill Sienkiewicz art style? But anyways, I don't think I'm going to keep this, though. It looks kind of interesting, but that's why I got it, and I was in a hurry to go through all these comics, but I'm going to put that in the fourth pile. So right now we have comics in all 4 piles. The permanent collection, temporary collection, the upgrade collection, and then the stuff to get rid of. Now here's a Batman and Ra's al Ghul miniseries that Neil Adams did in recent years. I don't know what year it was, but it was originally $3.99. And I got another one here buried somewhere too. This is issue number 2. You can just take a brief look at it if you want to see what it looks like. It doesn't look like Adams' best work. It's sort of his later stuff where, he's it's not as interesting as it would have been, say, in the the 70s, obviously. The characters sometimes have kind of funny looking expressions on their faces. Anyway, so that's that. I'm going to put that in the to sell pile. Like I said, I have another one here too, so that I'll be adding to that. I hit the camera. Issue number 2 of Hex. This was the mid-1980s science fiction follow-up to the Jonah Hex Western, when it got canceled around issue number 92 or something like that. I've never been a fan of this series, but it looked interesting, so I'm going to put this in the temporary collection for now. Metal Men, number 1 from 1993. I used to have an issue of this series at some point, but I've never had number 1 before. This looks kind of cool. I like Dan Jurgens' art and Brett Breeding's inking. So I'm going to put this in the temporary collection. Superman, number 338. This is in really rough condition. But I don't have this issue, so it's basically just filling a hole in my collection. And let's see here. You can see it has all these corner creases and stuff like that, so it's pretty worn. On the other hand, it looks, complete. And I've had worse issues of Superman. It looks like there's some black staining on it. But Prime Superman, I'm not even going to bother putting it in this backing board. I'll save that for a better issue. But it will go in my permanent collection until, of course, such time as I get a better copy. And then there'll be an upgrade. This looked kind of cool. DC a few years ago did these convergence issues where they did like some of the classic characters had their own one-shots. And this one, Tim Truman did the artwork on. And then Alcatena, or Enrique Alcatena, did the inks, and he's also a good artist. So this one, I hadn't even looked at inside it when I decided to get it. They had a whole bunch of Hawkworld issues that Tim Truman had drawn in the early 90s too. Now, I don't think I've ever read Hawkworld, so I didn't get any of those. But if I'd wanted to, I could have got like practically a whole set of them. This one is going to go in the temporary one, the temporary collection. Maybe as sort of a to be read. Now, this one also had a cool cover. It looks like the classic Blue Beetle. But when I looked at the artwork, I wasn't that crazy about the art. It didn't have much of a classic look to it. It looked more like a current thing. Look at those big empty backgrounds. It not too inspiring. So it's kind of I'm not a fan of this style of art. Like, does that look like a real building? No, it doesn't. Look at those empty backgrounds. So this one, even though it has a cool cover, has the classic Charlton characters that I'm a fan of, it's going in the to be gotten rid of pile. All right, now we have some issues of Young All-Stars. We'll do those next. Okay, so here's the Young All-Stars. Now I got, let's see, about 5 issues of those. This is issue number 2 and 3 from 1987. I used to have a lot of the Young All-Stars. This was the follow-up series to All-Star Squadron, which was Roy Thomas's World War II Justice Society based series of the early to mid 1980s, which was undone by Crisis on Infinite Earths, which was too bad because All-Star Squadron was one of my all-time favorite comics of the 1980s. But I didn't buy Young All-Stars at the time. I didn't start buying it till the 1990s in cheap bins. And then I think I sold them all or gave them away or something like that, traded them. So when I saw these and there was like, oh, I'll grab a few of these. And I'm going to put them in my temporary bin for now. Because, again, I've had them in the past. I sold them. I didn't keep them. So they're probably really not something that I'm going to have for the permanent collection. Because I didn't before. So that's issue number 12, number 18, and number 26. It started out as trying to be like a follow-up to All-Star Squadron, but eventually they just kind of gave up and became their own thing. I can't remember how many issues it lasted, though. And so we have some more here from around the same time. Checkmate. I got a bunch of those. The only issue of Checkmate I ever had, I think, was this one. Again, it was issue number 3 from 1988. I liked the artwork inside. It had, like Vigilante, it had those kind of cool page layouts that kind of bled off the page. It was on nice paper and stuff. It was a direct sale only title at that time. But I never bought it new. I didn't buy, like I said, I bought this one in like the early 90s and then got rid of it. But, I'm thinking, well, maybe I should give it a chance. I don't know. But I got some more here. So this is going to go in this is issue number, so we got 2, 3, 4, with Gil Kane covers, by the way. Issue number 5. It says, It's hard to read the signature who drew that one. Issue number 5. We're missing 6, so we have issue number 7. Issue number 8. We're missing 9 and 10, and then we have issue number 11. And issue number 16. It looks like Peacemaker there. And issue number 32. These look like they were all written by Paul Kupperberg. So again, this is going to go in the temporary collection. Maybe I'll read it and see what I think of it, and then we'll decide whether I want to keep it or not. Most likely I won't keep it, because not as a reflection of how good it is necessarily, but I have limited space, so I can't keep everything. I already have, you wouldn't believe how many comics I have. So now 0 Hour was a mini-series from the early 90s, I think. Yep, by Dan Jurgens and Jerry Ordway. So it has nice art. And I guess it was sort of a follow-up to Crisis on Infinite Earths, where Hal Jordan goes crazy and becomes Parallax and tries to redo the DC universe, something to that effect. I was out of comics at this time. I didn't follow it. But this is issue number 0. A nice blank cover. This is issue number 1, which I believe I used to have at some point. I had found it cheapened and they got rid of it. But when I saw all these issues here, I thought, well, I liked the artwork, so I might as well get it. Issue number 2, issue number 3, and issue number 4. And with Barbara Gordon Batgirl there. I don't know how many issues it lasted. I assume that's probably all of them. I don't know for sure, though. But I'm going to put those in the temporary. So that, so far, is becoming the biggest stack. All right. So now we're going to get more out of the boxes here. Let's see where we want to start. Okay, this is a Vertigo series, Dead Boy Detectives. I don't know why I got this one, because I'm not really, it says from the pages of the Sandman. I'm not a fan of Sandman. So I'm going to put this in, I looked at it earlier yesterday, after I got it home. And I was like, yeah, it's not really my type of thing. So I'm going to put it in the to be sold category. Green Lantern, Green Arrow, 114. This looks like it's in kind of rough shape. I bet it is. But for right now, I'm going to put it in the permanent category. Our Fighting Forces. This looks like it's probably in terrible shape. It feels thinner than it should be, so it might be missing pages. I am going to put it in the to be gotten rid of category. Ordinarily, I keep it, but it looks kind of rough. Same with this one. This is a Fox and Crow from the 1960s. And Stanley and the Monster. I'm going to put that to be sold too. Here's some Silverblade issues drawn by Gene Colan. And I used to have some Silverblade comics too. Not sure if I'm going to put them in the to be gotten rid of or to hold on to for now. I'm going to put in the temporary for now. Jem, Son of Saturn, also drawn by Gene Colan. And this series, also like Swamp Thing at the time, didn't have a comics code on it. This was a maxi series, as they call those 12-issue things. But I recall being underwhelmed even at the time when it came out. So I'm going to put that, I think, in the to be gotten rid of category. Warlord number 4. This is an early issue. I remember in the past looking through their dollar boxes, and they had some more early Warlords, but I didn't see them yesterday. Written and illustrated by Mike Grell. Looks like he probably did the inks on it too then. So cool stuff, but I'm not particularly into Warlord, and I ended up selling like all my Warlord issues several years ago. So I'm going to put that to be gotten rid of. Showcase 93. I'm not a fan of this series, but I saw Geoforce on here, and I like the Outsiders. So I thought, you know what? I used to have some Showcase issues from the 90s. But it was sort of like an anthology type series. I'm not crazy about the artwork, but here's the Geoforce thing. Brian Hitch penciled it, and Mike Barr, who is the Outsiders writer, wrote it. So this one I'm going to put in the temporary thing. I might just, sort of like Silverblade, I might just read it and then decide whether I want to keep it or not. Most likely I'll sell it, but this is an issue of Outsiders from 2007. And the reason I got it is Ron Randall drew the art. Or he penciled some of it anyways. Looks like there's another pencil in there. So I thought, what the heck, I'll throw it in. It was in the, it didn't matter if I could squeeze another comic in. Here's an Adventures of Superman. When Superman died, Reign of Superman, they introduced the new Superboy. So I thought, I've already had this issue before, and I ended up selling my, here's a poster that's inside. So I ended up selling a lot of my post-crisis Superman comics. So I thought, you know what, I'll get this. This will go in the temporary collection. I bought this comic when it was new, also drawn by Ron Randall, but I ended up selling it later. This was from, I brought my magnifying glass with me, so I can hopefully see, the year 2000? It doesn't seem like it was that recent. I mean, that long ago. It seems like it was more recent than that, but yes, it was. So I'm going to put it in the, even though I used to have a copy and get rid of it, I'm going to put it in the temporary category. Now, these ones I think were part of the same event, but they're drawn by different artists. This Power Girl one doesn't look too bad. So I'm going to put this in the temporary one for now. And there's the Green Lantern and Atom. Now, see, I can't stand the art on this one. It looks totally wrong. Like, what were they thinking? So, really? I mean, if I had looked at the artwork before I got it, I wouldn't have gotten it. I just kind of looked at the cover. So I'm going to put this in the to be gotten rid of category. All right, let's do some more here. The Shadow. This is the Howard Chaykin miniseries from 1986. We have book 1, book 2, book 3, and book 4. So we got the whole miniseries here. I think Anthony Tolan did essays in the back of them about the history of the Shadow pulp and radio series. Yeah, here's the Anthony Tolan. It's probably worth it just for that. But I used to have these. I don't think I had issue number 2. But I used to have these, so I'm going to put them in the temporary category for now. Nathaniel Dusk, more Gene Colan. I think I currently have a long box and a short box in my living room of comics that I'm going to get rid of. Eventually, I'm just going to put on eBay or something. And I think I have some Nathaniel Dusk ones in there already. I'm not particularly a fan of it. I do like Gene Colan, but for some reason, this didn't grab me. I think it's done in pencil form. Yeah, it's kind of sketchy looking. So I think they were trying to reproduce like that. I think the feeling was that Gene Colan's artwork looked best in its penciled form, and it lost something in the ink form. But the printing on here doesn't really help it. It kind of just makes it look sketchy. So I'm going to put it in the to be gotten rid of category. Superman number 3 by John Byrne. I bought this back when it came out, and like I said, I recently sold my post-crisis Superman comics. I kept a few of the early John Byrne ones, like the Man of Steel miniseries. But I thought, you know what? I'll get this. It's like getting it back, even though I just got rid of it not too long ago. So I'm going to put it in the temporary collection. Electric Warrior number 1 and 12 from 1986. So this was that period like when Vigilante and Checkmate came out. These were direct sale only series that cost a little more, had better paper, and they had these full bleed page layouts. I've only read one issue of Electric Warrior, and it was interesting. Jim Bakey, if I recall right, is a British artist, so he has a different sensibility than your typical American artist. So I'm going to put it in the temporary collection category. Action Comics 108, which is from, it looks semi-recent. It's written by Brian Michael Bendis, so it's from a few years ago. This is 1018. Action is currently on issue number 1050, I believe. And here's the John Romita Jr. and Klaus Janson did the artwork. So as a fan of, traditional comics art, I can't complain too much. Although Romita Jr.'s, artwork does look kind of weird. And here's the thing where Superman reveals his true identity to this person. So, but anyways, let's see if it'll tell us on here when it was from. It is from, does that say 2020? That wasn't too long ago, 2020. It's only 2 years ago. And got it for, I think it comes to 8 cents each. Like I got I'm going to put in the to be sold category there. I'm not going to keep that one. It's kind of funny that, I got 323 comics, I think, fit in that long box. And at $25, it was more like $26.50 counting tax. It works out to about 8 cents per issue. So everything that you're seeing here, it doesn't matter if I fit another one in. It was sort of like it's only 8 cents it works out to be. Okay, now here's a big stack. This is Camelot 3000, and it's the entire, it was the early 80s maxi series drawn by Brian Boland. And it was a big deal at the time when this came out. But it was sort of, DC's first attempt to do something like this, which of course later, they would do Watchmen and things like that. But this was sort of their first big attempt at that. This is from 1983. I have all the issues here except issue number 1. So we got issue number 2, issue number 3, issue number 4, issue number 5, issue number 6, issue number 7, issue number 8, issue number 9, issue number 10, issue number 11, and finally issue number 12. And so we got the whole thing except for issue number 1. I used to have, I think, a lot of these already, but ended up selling them. I don't think I had the whole set, though. I might have, though. But we're going to put it in the temporary category for now. Sort of like Night Force, it'll be one of those things that I used to have. Not sure I still want it. This is, technically, this should be in the upgrade category. I'll have to check it out, but I think this one I noticed now has a bit of a bend in it. And the cool thing about this comic, it had contributions from a bunch of creative, classic creators, like including a Steve Ditko story in here. There's the credits. But yeah, there's a little bend in this, in the page. There's a Dave Gibbons drawn Doom Patrol story. So I'm going to put this in the to be sold category because I know my copy is probably in better condition. The one I bought back when it came out. Here's some new Teen Titans I'll have to check to see if my copies are better. This is issue number 13 and 15. So I'm going to put them in the possible upgrade category. Also, issue number 4 of the Baxter New Teen Titans. Again, I'll have to check to see if my copy is in better condition. I'll put that in the possible upgrade category. The Adventures of Superman 502. We saw 501 earlier there. And this introduces, well, doesn't introduce Supergirl, but it's Supergirl and Superboy meeting, drawn by Tom Grummett. And I'm going to put that, like its predecessor, in the temporary category. Here's another that, remember we saw Batman versus Ra's al Ghul number 2. Well, this is issue number 3. And like that one, I'm going to put it in the to be sold category. There was issue number 2. I'll bring that out again. So there was issue number 2 and issue number 3. So we'll put those in the to be sold. And issue number 3, a thriller. I used to have this. This was like Camelot 3000, a maxi series. This one went totally off the rails, though. They ended up getting rid of the original creators. Apparently people couldn't understand what the story was about. So I'm going to put this in the to be sold category. Okay, and then after this, we're going to look at Marvel Comics in the stack. I think that takes care of most of the DC stuff, although at the end I will have some JSA to look at. Let's do Marvel next.